Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm seeking your guidance as the Speaker of Parliament. Thank you for your attention, Madam Speaker.
Just before you go on, Honorable Jonathan, as chairpersons of the committees and clerks of committees, I want you to be very vigilant next time. Very, very vigilant next time on the reports that are being brought in to the House. It portrays what kind of Parliament we are, and it helps us. The next people who will come after us should be able to get something that is better. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The guidance that I would require from you, and if it pleases you, you take time and give that guidance by way of a comprehensive ruling. The powers conferred upon the Speaker of Parliament, provided in the Constitution, is exercisable by two subsidiary legislations. The administration, the general administration of Parliament, where you exercise your power, is under the Administration of Parliaments Act. When you are exercising your power as the Speaker, the presiding officer, it is provided under the rules of Parliament. When you look at all the rules provided from one up to the end, all of them, you can only exercise that power when you are properly seated in this Parliament. If, for example, I require you, Madam Speaker, to approve a trip for me to go abroad, that power you'll exercise in your chambers and using the powers provided in the Administration of Parliaments Act. So the procedural matter I am raising is for you to guide whether some of the powers provided in the rules of procedure, which mentions the word Parliament, and when it says Parliament in the interpretation of the rules, it means Parliament seated in these chambers. And your rulings and guidance can only therefore come when we are in this chamber. And when you give those rulings, Madam Speaker, it forms part and parcel of the rules of procedure of this Parliament. So the procedural matter I'm requesting from you is, if you have already made a decision that the powers provided that you should make a decision from this House can be exercised in your chambers, then why do we members of Parliament be invited to come and sit in this chamber? Because, for example, if you are processing a bill, whether you, the Speaker, you like the bill or not, you must come and make the decision here. But if now the powers in the rules can be exercised in the chambers, then there is no business for MPs to come and sit here. The Speaker, you can exercise that and say, on issue A, I have replaced Parliament and this is my decision. So the procedural matter that I want you, Madam Speaker, to reflect on and guide this House, so that the members of Parliament, including myself, I can come and I know I am coming to Parliament to represent the people of Erute South, and that privilege cannot be impeached. Whether the Speaker likes or not, cannot be impeached. In relation to that, I will receive information later, Madam Speaker, is that there are so many decisions on motions, private members' bills, statements that have not seen the light of this House, and yet it should properly first be received and the decision made from this House. There are bills, there are statements, and so many others provided in the rules of procedure. Wouldn't it be now right for you to guide that either we disregard the set rules and we replace it with, I don't know, personal statements that you will be issuing every day, Madam Speaker, before the sitting, and say in today's sitting, these are the rules that I have set as the Speaker of Parliament? Wouldn't it proceed right to have that?
Thank you so much for raising a general concern, and we will give you guidance on that at an appropriate time.
Honorable,
the Honorable Milton has addressed my concern, but I want to bring it from the legal perspective. And I kindly want to draw your attention, the Minister and the Chairperson of the committee. The motion requires us to approve a resolution of Parliament. The constitutional standard is that you either approve or you reject, because these requests come with specific terms and conditions. So if Parliament says you go and do A, B, C, D, which is not defined, from which unit cost now to which one, from which financing model to which one, and for us here we say approve subject to. It has piqued my mind that maybe when Parliament does these resolutions, they should be laid back in this Parliament, and we see. We can easily fall in a trap where you approve a motion and then the resolution that is extracted does not reflect what Parliament has decided. So I really support and I kindly request that you give due consideration to the issue raised by Honorable Muoma, because it's a legal requirement that we must approve with certainty. And that certainty can only be when the committee has said yes or no. In other words, the chair of the committee should help us. It appears the committee rejected. That's the interpretation. They said, do not approve, let them first go back. And once they have the new terms and conditions with the financing, with the unit cost review, then they can come back. So chair should help us clarify that. And then from the minister, I want to know practically, should we approve subject? What happens? Are you going to go to them? And you have said you had already agreed with the contractor in an EPC plus F. Is it possible for you to go to them and then you renegotiate the terms? And when you renegotiate the terms, is that the term that Parliament has approved without Parliament looking at it? That's the issue I also have with this.
Thank you.
So,
Honorable Odur, I thought for us, okay, the terms we approve are with the render. Okay? Then the issues of reduce the cost of toilets, reduce the cost of pump house are with the contractor. Okay? That's I'm trying to think. Yeah. Isn't that possible?
That is correct, but when you look at the observation and recommendation, even touches the rate, the terms of borrowing, the interest rate, that's what the committee said. In fact, they said, renegotiate terms of the loan somewhere. It is said, renegotiate the terms of the loan.
Jonathan Odur, then Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first, I think as the Shadow Minister for Justice, I would like to convey words of acknowledgement and appreciation to the justices of the Supreme Court for coming out very clearly and boldly in delivering this judgment, which had caused great concern amongst the public and some sorts of anxiety. So I would like to thank the Judiciary, the Chief Justice, and the justices who delivered this unanimous decision. Mr. Speaker, Article 126, Clause 2E, and I would like to read, says that substantive justice shall be administered without undue regard to technicalities. The learned Attorney General understands this very well. What he is trying to do is trying to delay substantive justice. The orders are as clear, and that court martial, in my understanding, has not been disbanded. What I'd expected today or yesterday was for the court martial to sit and say, we are now discharging all these persons that were before us, that at that time we thought we had the authority to try them. But now that court has declared we are now discharging them. And that would be the most logical step to do. We also know that courts rely on departments and agencies and authorities of government to function. Courts do not have the force to go and pick people, just like the Speaker you observed here. As Parliament, we cannot go to prisons and open those padlocks. Courts rely on the goodwill of the executive in implementing the decisions that they issue. So I expected that the Attorney General, the DPP, the Commissioner General of Prisons, whoever is involved, to comply with this. The last point I would like to ask the Attorney General. You have read to us very good advice you have rendered. I would like to know whether you rendered that advice to the President. The President quoted you, that he called you on phone, and you seem to have given him an advice that does not match with what you are telling us here. Would you now? And Mr. Speaker, this letter from the President is in the open. I don't need to go through it. But he quoted that he got in touch with the Attorney General, who explained to him certain things. I understand that the Attorney General, being a party to the suit at that time, in the heat of the moment, having lost that big case, you would have lost a little bit of your composure. But would you now clarify to us? And I've ever been to the Supreme Court as a litigant, and I lost a case. I know what it feels like. So I understand what the Attorney General went through. But would the Attorney General tell us clearly if this advice that he has told us here is exactly what he rendered to the head of the state? Because what the President wrote potentially undermines the rule of law, undermines democracy, and I thought that it is incumbent upon the Attorney General to guide the President on the next course of action. Would you clarify to us and even lay, where possible, that opinion? Because this is not just advice. You said a legal opinion, and there is clarity on how a legal opinion is rendered. Would we see that here, Mr. Speaker?
Thank you. What I'm saying is that the court said seize these matters and transfer them to us. That means that the court, the Supreme Court, handed the jurisdiction over any matter that relates to any of those people to the courts of judicature. Now, Honorable Segona, we can continue the debate. I have rendered advice. I have told you that the government has decided to comply with the court orders, and we are going to comply with the court orders as have been given by the Supreme Court. I thank you.
Procedural matter I'm raising, you communicated to us. And the point I picked from your communication is that there is an international criminal running what would be equivalent to modern slave trade, picking human beings, girls, and selling them to be dehumanized in ways that cannot be described here. So the procedural matter I'm raising, how we have veered off the matter of slave trade and to debate as if we are suggesting that government should take up the responsibility of selling Ugandans abroad for such things, and mixing it with the issue of labor externalization. So the procedural matter I wanted you to guide is whether we could restrict ourselves to this criminality that cannot be justified, whether by an individual, whether by an institution, or by government. It does not have a place. And we should not even be debating and suggesting that there is a better way if government is the one who does it. Of course, if the NRM government wants to do, no problem. But our side, I don't think it is something that can be acceptable. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I think what Honorable Jonathan Odur is saying is very clear, but it also shows what is coming from members. It shows that this matter is way, way beyond what we are even discussing here. But with our rules, we have to remain within the framework of what has been suggested. Honorable colleagues, don't you think it would be prudent, okay, for the minister to bring a statement? Because you see, even if this is an international criminal, there are Ugandan girls, Uganda featured everywhere, you know. So the minister, oh, LOP, yes, I had allowed LOP area. But colleagues, we are opening up a debate on something which is just laying of papers.
Speaker, thank you for your indulgence. I think when I listen to submission from colleagues, the cry from NABI and all over the country, the leader of government business could do us a very good service if they can sit as government and come to this house and say, now we have a term of 5 years which is coming to an end, to show each and every member of parliament here, either in their district, what the government has done, delivered tangibly as a project in these 5 years. Many of us here, and I sympathize with those who sit on the NRM, you have nothing to go and tell your people. In 5 years, no road, no school, no high impact project, nothing. And the government has been there for 5 years. Every time the government has a specific set of promises that it has made to the country. And that should be done. So if it pleases you, Mr. Speaker, and to calm all this, the leader of government business with this well-composed team of ministers, come and tell us what you have delivered in each and every area of this country.
Thank you. But now, colleagues, we have, just wait a bit when I will allow you when I will break. But we have a committee in charge of government assurance. And government assurance includes what was in the manifesto, what the government promised to do. So the one failing to do the job, is it the opposition which is failing to point out the issues? Honorable Ramrama.
Mr. Speaker, it's not true, and it should not be left unchallenged that in 5 years the government has done nothing to show. When we have been commissioning facilities all over the country, yes, if you have not done your work to understand where the budget you appropriate goes, you go and find out. You can bring here a list. We are always here on appraisals, and things have been done. For instance, in my constituency, I have 2 new primary schools built. I have water running. I have electricity.
Mr. Speaker, I was in the House when a statement was brought by the minister. And that time, the statement that was brought is not any different from what he has presented today. We had raised issues to do with, I will start with this one particularly. Out of the 1 million connections, that time we had issues to do with equity, especially northern Uganda, comprising of 39 districts. The longest list was only given 140,000 households, compared to others that had more. One almost had about 500,000. And the question was, where is the equity in projects that are financed? So we had requested the minister to come here and show us, and I remember these were your directives, that you even want to know village by village the details of these connections, so that we are able to see how far some parts of this country has lagged behind. So as you direct the minister to go back, Mr. Speaker, I request that the minister takes your guidance seriously, so that when the list comes here, we are able to see in full details to avoid this back and forth engagements that we have had. And good enough, he is a very good minister, and like he has promised, I believe he's going to bring these details, and we shall see the entire country, the plan, and how we are going to get connected, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you.